just read the comment right above it and you'll know what I'm talking about. Not yet, but I just started it. So good morning to the people listening on demand. We're having a shower done upstairs, and so you might hear lots of noise in the background, but that's what it is. We got these guys in for one more day, and then we'll have a walk-in shower. We're looking forward to it. And then, after that, I'm going to get my gallbladder out on Monday. Just some information that you don't really need to know, but the sound is good, so I don't have to talk nonsense anymore. And all I have to do is tell the chat room that the sound is good, and we will be on our way. So refresh to everybody. It's 8:59 a.m. We get started a little early on Saturdays, pretty much every day. But I hope you can hear me good. This isn't a headset type thing, so we're going to power through the Saturday Fantasy Baseball. We got some nuggets, some tidbits. We got Lenny doesn't feel very good today, so everybody hopes he feels better. He's nauseous, but we're doing everything we can to keep him on the right track. He doesn't have a fever. You're nauseous, Leonard. You're not nauseous looking. You're just... Are you nauseous? Yes, he's nauseous, but we're taking good care of him. So everybody, welcome aboard. Welcome to Saturday Fantasy Baseball. And as I was saying, we will have some player news, tidbits, nuggets, notes, and all kinds of stuff. And then we'll do some FAAB targets, which is the waiver wire pickups for tomorrow. And let's get started. Is Laura here yet? Let's say hi to the chat room. We got Boston Paul, Unholy Toledo. Love you, Unholy. Great to see you around. SM King Turd, Rotorius, Lenny, Eddie, Teresa, Chris and Debbie Gallo, Data Premier, and Unholy's Dogs. And Boston Paul. Great to see you. All right, I wish Laura was here when we talk about the Mets. I guess we have Rotorius. He's a Mets fan. We're feeling pretty bad for ourselves, us Met people. Oh, there's Big L on the prowl, another Mets fan, just in time. And Timothy, my hooker, is here. Great to see you, too. Yes, it's the Mets' downside of a season. It's just horrible what's going on. They're just not doing well. I mean, the Braves aren't doing well either. Baseball is not a sprint. It is a marathon. So let's get started. The Mets season after 56 games, when Kodai Senga hasn't thrown one pitch, Francisco Alvarez has already missed 50 games, Edwin Diaz has an ERA over 5, the team batting average with runners in scoring position is under 200, and the Mets' middle of the batting lineup is batting 220. Mendoza is not the problem. Is that Mendoza as in batting under the Mendoza line, which is 200? Or is this Carlos Mendoza, their manager?
That's his name.
You can't really blame the manager as much as we want to. I know they get blamed for everything, and they're usually the ones that lose their jobs, but that's only because you can't fire players that you have signed to contracts, and as they say, shit rolls downhill. And good morning to Daniel Ferrara. Good morning to James K. from Wisconsin. And Tommy Johnson, great to see you. One of the most positive people I know, Tommy Johnson. The Mets have $17 million tied up in payroll for two catchers that aren't even on their team. James McCann and Omar Narvaez. What the heck is that? Are they still paying that other dude, Leonard?
Who's that?
You know, Bobby Bonilla Day.
Oh, yeah.
Is today Bobby Bonilla Day?
I don't know. Today is.
I know it's the first of some month, but
They're still paying him.
anyway, $17 million tied up in payroll for two catchers that aren't even on the team. Alonzo, and this is from Turd. Good morning to Chris from Cambridge. Great to see you. SM King Turd says Pete Alonso is 30 years old and they will get a decent return on him. I don't think they should get rid of Alonso, but you never know. They don't have a lot of trade bait, do they? Also, they fired Jose Lopez, and that was all over a misunderstanding. This vultures in the media decide to go and run with something. The guy was, you know what? When players have passion, that's not a bad thing. And when they're beating themselves up, that's not a bad thing either. Why do these vultures just love to destroy people's reputations? It's just despicable. It's so despicable. I mean, they've always kind of been that way, but it has gotten to the point where they're just so despicable that you can't even believe a word they say, because they're just judgmental punks. And all they do is, even if they find out something's not true, do you ever think that they'll go back and say, I'm sorry, and this is SNY, WFAN, and some other local news outlets that were just all over this guy for having a bad day and saying that he's the worst teammate and he's got bad English, so of course it gets misconstrued. But when the truth comes out, do you see any of these vultures saying that they made a mistake? No, because they're all a bunch of jackasses. That's how I feel, and I won't hold back. Right, Unholy? That's how we do it. Tyler McGill has been a bright spot for the Mets in his short stint this season. He's got a 1.69 ERA, a 1.93 FIP, and that's in 16 innings, and he added velocity this year, as if that's something to be so damn proud of, too. Velocity is not my favorite quality in a pitcher, as you know. We're going to be talking about some soft tossers today, so get your pens and pencils and all this ready. He added velocity and introduced a nasty splitter. They named it the American Spork. You know what a spork is? It's that fork spoon that they give you in the cafeteria when you're a kid. Anyway, they named his pitch the American Spork, and it's inspired by Kodai Senga's forkball. Too bad Kodai Senga is nowhere to be found.
Laura's here.
Laura, great to see you. You always have the right timing, lady. You missed the damn Mets talk. We do have a little more Mets stuff. A little more, then we'll move on to that other famous Yankees team. The Mets expect reliever Shintaro Fujinami. They signed this guy to a $3.25 million deal just before spring. They expect him to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. He is dealing with a shoulder injury. But the good news is there's still no belief in the organization that he's going to need surgery. And let me just repeat for my friend Laura. And we'll wallow in our sorrow together, okay? After 56 games, Alvarez has missed 50 games. Diaz has an ERA over 5. The team batting average with runners in scoring position is under 200. And the Mets' core of the lineup is batting .220. Kodai Senga hasn't thrown one pitch. And the Mets have $17 million tied up in payroll for 2 catchers not on the team. Okay, now we're moving on to some positive news, which is the Yankees. The Yankees do have a great team this year, especially since Aaron Judge turned it on and woke up, right? Good morning to King Hap. Great to see you. King Hap's going to do the podcast on Monday when I go to get my gallbladder out. I'm looking forward to this. I haven't had a meal in over a month now. I've been living on fruit, yogurt, and egg whites. So I'm ready. Even though I'm losing weight, it's still no fun. It's actually very miserable. So I can't wait to get this gallbladder out. I've gone for a CT scan, an ultrasound, and both of these tests together showed that the opening of my gallbladder is 0.4 centimeters, less than 1/2 of a centimeter wide. My 2 stones that they found are 2.2 centimeters and 1.7 centimeters, which are both at least 3 times, and one of them is 4 times bigger than the hole, so they aren't going anywhere. And if I want to eat a meal again, it's coming out. All right, let's get going with the Yankees. Another home run for Jason Dominguez. He already has 10 rehab games under his belt. Wednesday was the first time that he started in center field since he underwent Tommy John surgery last September. But the fact that he's playing in the outfield signals that he's completed his throwing program. Here's the thing. Dominguez is probably still going to remain on his rehab assignment for the full 20 days, okay? Also, the Yankees don't really have an everyday role available in the outfield for Dominguez at the moment. So he will likely be optioned to AAA once he's reinstated from the 60-day injured list. So keep an eye on the Yankees. They don't have a spot for Jason Dominguez, no matter how much he's doing in the minors. Keep that in mind when you're making your FAAB bids, okay? Don't get too excited about a guy that has no place up here to play. Thanks, Laura. Thank you, Tommy Johnson. Everything will be good. It's only a 35-minute surgery. They do it with a robot now. And I'll be in and out of there, and I'll be rearing to go the next day. All right. 6'7" Aaron Judge faced 6'11" Sean, and I don't know how to say his name. I asked Lenny, but he came up with something ridiculous, so I don't know how to say his name. It's Hjelle. Does anybody know or anybody watch the game and hear how to say this guy? 6'11" pitcher Sean, Hjelle. Lenny thinks it's jelly or helly. Might be helly or hell. I think the J is silent, which is something that Lenny told me. And if you look at Heston Kierstad's name, there's no J sound in it, so I have to assume the J is silent once again. But and Holy had his out in 1981. And the nurse told him gallbladder pain is tantamount to childbirth, and I'll feel great afterwards. I agree. My friend Rachel said she got hers out. She felt so much better. And also Malpal's wife Tina got hers out. It happens a lot. There's like 600,000 of these a year. It's a very simple surgery, so nobody has to worry. You know what's funny about that? I had my first gallbladder attack over 10 years ago. I had no idea what it was, but after doing some research, I started to figure out exactly what it was, especially since it only really happened when I would eat like McDonald's or pizza or something really fatty. And so I told the lady at the doctor's office that I've kind of used it to keep me eating healthy, and she laughed. She said she's been doing this for 20 years, and she's never heard anybody say that they kept their gallbladder because they wanted to lose weight and eat better. But they did. They were very surprised that it took me this long and multiple attacks before I came in. And the only reason I'm doing it is because it actually happened when I ate healthy. When I was eating healthy, I got a gallbladder attack, and I said, I got to get this thing out. Obviously, I can't even eat healthy food anymore, so that's that. But yes, the pain is not good. That's where I learned how to use, from Lenny's grandma, the hot water bottle, the famous red hot water bottle that has saved my life multiple times over the years, and actually became one of my best friends. The hot water bottle. It does all kinds of wonders. Okay, Aaron Judge, 3-run homer, number 19 and 20 yesterday. The New York Yankees, with Aaron Judge's 15 home runs in the month of May, now join the Phillies as the first teams to win 40 games this season. The Yankees and the Phillies have the best record in baseball. That's what I'm saying. 26 extra base hits for Aaron Judge the month of May. 26 extra base hits. That includes 14 homers and 12 doubles. He surpassed Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig for the most May extra base hits in Yankees history. So even after a very horrible start to the season, for those of you that hung in there with Aaron Judge, very smart idea. He was never one time moved down in the batting order. He was never benched. They just let him work it out, and he sure did. In his last 32 games since April 27th, he's batting .373 with 12 doubles, 15 homers, 31 RBIs, and 30 runs scored. They're taking the whole gallbladder. They have no way of getting those stones out of there. That's a sip of my coffee, and it tastes delightful. Aaron Judge in May, by the numbers, 14 home runs. The next most is 11. He leads the league for May, obviously, with home runs, OPS, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, 100-mile-an-hour exit velocity on average, okay? That's wonderful. .371 batting average. He actually is not leading the league in that, and we'll talk about who is in a minute. It would be the San Diego Padres' Luis Arias. And he's also got 27 RBIs, and that ranks second in the majors because Jose Ramirez drove in 33 runs in May. Now, the Yankees starters have all gone at least 4 innings in all 59 games this season, and that's their second longest streak at any point in a single season. And yesterday was a tough day for Baltimore Orioles, who announced that lefty pitcher John Means, and Tyler Wells, will each undergo season-ending UCL surgery, and you know what that means for me. Well, you do have a gallbladder for a reason. Your gallbladder is there to store bile. The liver produces it and stores it in the gallbladder, but that's literally all it's used for. And the liver already has a connection to the stomach, so it is useless once it starts to get stoned. And if you don't take care of it, it will cause all kinds of other problems inside you eventually. Good morning to Teresa. Now, you know how I feel about this. I think that Trevor Bauer deserves a shot. I just am getting to the point where, I just feel like I feel like half the world is so virtuous when they want to be, but they're so ruthless when they don't want to be. If you happen to disagree with them, or you don't go along with their narrative, or you happen to have ideas that don't mix, or if you say something mean on Twitter, or if, you might say something offensive 15 years ago, these people act like you don't deserve another shot at life. Anybody that cheers on the demise of somebody's entire career is despicable, and I have totally gotten rid of those people from my life. It's just amazing. I don't expect you to like Trevor Bauer. I don't care if you like him. I don't even think I like him personally. I probably would just be annoyed at him if I ever hung out with him. He's kind of egotistical and maybe wouldn't be great company, but the point is he gives everything he's got to pitching, and the fact that no team will talk to him is he's being blackballed. There's no other way around it. He served his sentence, and for those of you who like to throw stones from your glass houses, you just remember that everybody, especially men in their 20s, they don't make the best decisions when it comes to females, and honestly, they think with the wrong head, and that's the way it is. And the worst thing that Trevor Bauer did was have consensual rough sex with some gold diggers. And it's not just one, it was multiple. But if you've been keeping up on the story, you would find out that both of these people were not very honest with their side of the story. I'm not going to go in and hash it all out. I'm only going to tell you what Trevor Bauer has done since he's been suspended, which is 32 games, 197 and 2/3 innings, 222 strikeouts, a 2.37 ERA. He's pitching in Mexico right now. In 6 games, 35 innings pitched. He struck out 55 batters with a 1.80 ERA. He leads the league in ERA, strikeouts, and wins. He's got a perfect record so far, and he has chosen to stay and keep pitching for Diablo, Mexico. The only reason he really took that job to begin with was so he could showcase his stuff to the Yankees when the Yankees had that game down in Mexico. But you know what? He's the first player in history to have his own logo repped on all the team's uniforms. It's really pretty cool. He comes out and says that they approached him a couple weeks ago and asked him if they could put his logo on all of the team uniforms as part of a joint team and player marketing effort, and he thinks it's awesome. He's honored to be a part of it. He's had 32 starts since being suspended, which is essentially one full season, and he continues to work his ass off. He continues to throw baseballs every single day. Now, Of course I'm going to say that the Orioles should hire Bauer Outage. He said he'll sign for the minimum. What are you risking? A couple of woke fans not coming to your games? Give me a break already. Give this guy a chance. He deserves it. He stays after games every day, signs autographs, takes pictures with fans, and they love him. So that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And you guys all know how I feel about it. And I'm just saying it's an option for the Orioles right now because they're having problems with their pitching. And good grief, the Orioles, they have such a good team this year. It would just be a shame to see their whole season go down the tubes because they decided not to hire a pitcher that, and frankly, he's pitching better than he's ever pitched in his life. He pitched well in Japan. I know these leagues are not great, but the same people dogging on the fact that he pitched in Japan and now he's pitching in Mexico and neither of these leagues are great. They went crazy over Yamamoto. They went crazy acting like he's the best pitcher in baseball even though he never threw a pitch in the major league. So if you're going to say the league sucks for one pitcher, then you have to say the league sucks for all pitchers, which they won't do. By the way, I just thought of that. Gunnar Henderson recently became the fourth Baltimore Oriole to hit his 50th career home run before turning 23. And I'll point out once again the stark difference between the two rookies of the year last year, which are Corbin Carroll and Gunnar Henderson. Wow. 259 average for 22-year-old Gunnar Henderson, 18 homers, 41 RBI, 42 runs scored, and 7 stolen bases on the season. Compare that to Corbin Carroll, who's 23, batting .197 with 2 home runs, 18 RBIs, 26 runs scored, and 9 stolen bases. However, I will point out, I hope you don't drop Corbin Carroll. You're going to have to go through some ups and downs with these youngsters. And yes, you should have never, ever passed over guys like Mookie Betts, Kyle Tucker. These guys are proven and they have track records of lots of at-bats and lots of good seasons. So for me, I will never, ever take a guy like Corbin Carroll in the first round if he's only had one good season, just like I wouldn't take Ellie De La Cruz. But Ellie is having a fabulous season, and Carroll on May 27th went 1 for 3 with a walk, a triple, and a run scored. That was on Sunday. Also, he hit his fourth triple of the season, and all of those triples, all 4 of them, have come in the last 10 days. So it does look like he is turning it on a little bit, and there's a little reason to celebrate. And the only reason I'm bringing him up is once again to compare the complete stark difference between last year's Rookie of the Years in Gunnar Henderson and Corbin Carroll. Luis Arias batting .398, 4-hit games since being acquired by the Padres, while the Marlins are paying virtually his entire $10 million salary. Good morning to Jay Gibbs. Good morning to everybody. Good morning to Merrill. Good morning to Mitchell. Drew Pomeranz cleared waivers and elected free agency. And once again, of course, when I see Drew Pomeranz, it's like, what the heck? All right. Just 4 days after he signed with the Giants last Friday, they DFA'd him, on Tuesday, and he is now chosen to re-enter free agency rather than joining the AAA Sacramento team. He's 35 years old, a lefty, allowed 6 earned runs in 9 innings with the Dodgers AAA affiliate, and hasn't pitched in the majors since 2021. 5-3, Toronto beat Pittsburgh in 14 innings last night. Only 5 games since 2020 have gone into the 4th inning. 14th inning. Thank you, Leonard. We help each other, right?
Yes, we should.
Do I say his name wrong, Rotorius? I call him Gunnar. Is that wrong? Should it be Gunnar Henderson? I hope I say it right, but please help me out if I'm not. Boston Paul let Lenny know that Joey Meneses' 2-run double was pivotal for the Nationals in their 3-1 win over their rival Atlanta Braves. it's pretty crazy to say that the Nationals, okay, their rival is the Braves. The poor Braves are having just a dismal season too. But, okay, I did a little further investigating. Joey Meneses is heating up at the plate. He went 2 for 4 with a double, a run scored, and 2 RBI in Thursday's win over Atlanta. And I'll tell you this, the one best thing about Joey Meneses was the fact that he always hits in the middle of the lineup. Even though he hasn't been playing every single day all year, he does qualify at first base on top of utility. When it was draft season, he only qualified at utility, which pushed his ADP down really low. And I'll say this. He's 32 years old. He has 5 hits in his last 2 games. And starting with a May 14th doubleheader against the Red Sox, he's batting .333 with a .385 on-base percentage, 2 doubles, a home run, and 7 RBI over 13 games. All right, now the Nationals lineup is fully healthy, so he's going to have to continue to keep hitting the ball if he wants to get regular playing time between first base and DH, but he does always hit in the middle, which drives up his RBIs great. His batting average is nowhere near what it was last year, but we're thinking it's going to get a little bit better. Jurickson Profar, okay, is one of San Diego's best players this year. Where's Mal, pal? He's one of the top performers in the National League. He's batting .323 with a .421 on-base percentage across 233 plate appearances. He has 8 home runs, 1 shy of the total number of home runs that he managed in 125 games between the Rockies and the Padres last year. He is drawing walks at a personal high 13.3% clip while keeping his strikeout rate low, 14.2%. He's also hitting the ball a lot harder than he has at any point in his career. His 41% hard contact is 10 points higher than last year. So Jurickson Profar doing all kinds of things for the Padres, quietly, I'll say. Boston Paul challenges me to get through one Saturday without mentioning Trevor Bauer, but I will not do it since I'm the only one talking about him and he deserves a second chance. Now let's talk about my other favorite pitcher who's down is Zach Gallen, which wrecks me completely. I have him on all my money leagues. I didn't even realize I was doing it, but I target Zach Gallen because he's always been great for where he goes in drafts. Plus, he's a soft tosser. And, of course, Mal Pal chapped my hide so bad the other day when he said, soft tossers, LOL. After I cried about losing Gallen, he said, oh, those soft tossers, LOL. Because this is a guy that is sticking up for Mason Miller, saying that he's not worried about his arm being thrown out. And I say, Mal Pal, thanks for the joke, you asshole. He didn't hurt his arm. He hurt his hamstring. So he's down for 15 days, and it's a right hamstring strain, and they say he's been dealing with it since April 26th. He's only 28 years old. He will now be on the shelf for 15 games at least. We're hoping he will do the minimum time served, and he will be back June 15th against the White Sox. All right, so that's a couple weeks. We're good. Let's hope that he comes back in 2 weeks like we expect, because the guy is once again doing exactly what we rely on him for, which is a 3.12 ERA and 60 strikeouts so far this season. If this is just a minor thing, which he should have taken care of in April, we would be back in action already. So let's get it done. Joey Adele, finally, he's got some good stats on the season, but I have to admit, he's had some slumps lately. He hit a grand slam as a pinch hitter yesterday, so it looks like his slump is over. He also erased a 4-run deficit when he checked into the game in the 7th inning, which means he wasn't a starter yesterday, so keep that in mind. The homer did end a 1-for-31 drought for Adele, who went 11-for-43 before that slump. All right, he already does have 11 homers on the season. He's added 27 RBIs, 8 stolen bases, 24 runs scored, 4 doubles, and a triple over 162 plate appearances. Despite the success in counting stats, he's still batting .211, which can wreck your batting average in fantasy. Don't forget, batting average is just as much a category as on-base percentage or home runs or stolen bases. Walker Buehler allowed 4 runs, only 3 earned, on 6 hits and 4 walks, while striking out 7 over 6 innings. He took the loss. He gave up 3 runs in the 3rd inning and a solo home run to Ezequiel Tovar in the 4th. The Dodgers only gave him enough run support to offer 5 hits and 2 walks. He does have 2 quality starts in 5 outings since returning from Tommy John surgery. On the season, he's got a 4.32 ERA, a 1.32 whip, 24 strikeouts, and 7 walks over 25 innings, and he's projected to make his next start on the road against the Pirates. So I still think, Walker Buehler, you got to just keep throwing him in there every day. There's Mal Pal. He must have heard his ears burning. He must have been having some ringing. That's a great way to get you to come to the podcast, Mal Pal. Talk shit about you. All right. Let's talk about San Diego Padres while you're here, buddy. Suarez picked up the save Friday against Kansas City. He pitched 1/3 of an inning with no strikeouts. He's been very good. No runs, 1 hit. He entered to collect the last out in a bases-loaded jam with a 5-run lead, and now he's tied with Emmanuel Clase for the second in the majors, 17 saves, trailing Ryan Helsley by 1. This Suarez has been very good. He's 33 years old. He's been brilliant as the Padres closer this year, which really stinks for me because I drafted that other guy that was from Japan thinking he was going to get a shot, Matsui. I think his name is Matsui. But every time I say the name Matsui, I just keep thinking of Hideki. That's not who it is. Is his name Matsui? But either way, he's sitting on my bench. What? How's the noise, everybody? I'll keep talking loud. It's just that they're finishing up our shower, and we're very grateful for it, okay? So, back to Suarez, and then we'll go right to the FAAB targets for the week, and then we'll have to say our goodbyes, and we'll get going on the day. So, Cal Quantrill is somebody that Boston Paul brought up to me last week, and so, of course, I say Cal Quantrill, yes, he pitches for the Rockies. Yes, he has a harsh start this week against the Dodgers. It might be this weekend. I'm pretty sure it is this weekend. Here's the thing about Cal Quantrill. He is a fantasy relevant pitcher. He isn't great, but he's absolutely not horrible. And I know that him pitching in Colorado does put down his value some. But look, I have to bring him up because in Paul's defense, he has produced 5 straight quality starts, going 4-0 with a 1.71 ERA over those 5 quality starts. Prior to that hot streak, though, he was 0-3 with a 5.34 ERA to begin the season, and now his ERA is 3.53 on the season with 49 strikeouts to 23 walks, which is not good, by the way. He's now in line for a start against the Dodgers, so check him out. He is the number 1 guy in Colorado. Also, his FIP is worse than his ERA. He's a soft tosser, 93.5 miles an hour fastball on average. But I will say this, he is inducing a lot of ground balls, which is exactly what you have to do to be respectable in Colorado. This season, he's producing more ground balls than ever before. It's 48% ground ball rate. He's striking out 18.9% of the batters that he faces. And in the last 9 starts, he's gone at least 6 innings in 8 of the last 9. So yes, he is a fantasy relevant pitcher and he will eat up innings and he isn't going crazy, especially in Colorado where it's the most important ballpark to get ground balls. That's exactly what he's doing. Another pitcher from the Padres that you could take a look at who is the number 5 Padres starting pitcher, Matt Waldron. He's also a knuckleballer. Talk about slow tossers. There's one for you. 27 years old, 4.26 ERA, and 60 strikeouts on the season. Now, on May 5th start, he allowed 8 runs, including 7 earned runs, but then he got better. Since that May 5th start, he's allowed just 5 earned runs in his next 23 innings, and that's good for a 1.96 ERA. He also has 31 strikeouts in the last 23 innings. He's a great target for streaming pitchers because this is a guy pitching in a pitching park. His fielding independent percentage is better by 1 full run than his ERA shows. And his fielding independent percentage is a 3.44. Now, he doesn't get enough ground balls for my liking, but as I mentioned, he is in a pitcher's park, 38.6% ground balls and 24.2% strikeout rate. Another guy that's been talked about all week, so he's probably not available anymore, is Ben Brown. And let's move on to Simeon Woods Richardson, who I think this is going to make King Turd happy. Minnesota Twins 23-year-old youngster, starting pitcher for the Twins. It looks like he's number 5 right now with Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Chris Paddock, and now Simeon Woods Richardson. On the season, a 2.70 ERA, a 1.10 whip. He did have some rostership spike over the past couple days because he allowed 2 runs and 3 hits in 5 innings against the Royals on May 28th. But he only struck out 2 batters. And he has allowed 2 or fewer earned runs in 7 of his 8 games this season. He could get a road game against the Astros or pitching in the Bronx against the Yankees, depending on how much rest the Twins want to give him. He hasn't gone deeper than 6 innings in any outings, but he's done an excellent job keeping the ball in the park, only allowing a half of a home run per 9 innings. Okay? He doesn't go deep into games. 93-mile-an-hour average fastball, another slow tosser that we love to see. His FIP is a little higher, but not that much higher than his ERA. And, of course, his ground ball rate is 40%, while he's striking out 20.8% of batters that he faces. Here's a guy that's a reliever from the Milwaukee Brewers, Brian Hudson. I'm not telling you to grab this guy for saves, because it looks like McGill is getting most of the save opportunities in Milwaukee at the moment. And also, you can't forget that Devin Williams will come back, okay, eventually, and both of these guys will be shut out for saves. But this Brian Hudson guy gets lots of holds. 91.8-mile-an-hour fastball. He's not the picture of a dominant reliever with his slow tossing, but he does have 36 strikeouts in 30 innings to go with a .59 ERA and .73 whip. He has 7 holds on the season and 3 wins. Actually, he now has 4 wins with a 1.13 ERA and a .75 whip. He's a lefty, so if you need holds, I'll give you that. And he could get wins and saves, but it's not likely on the saves. Davis Schneider, Toronto Blue Jays, 25-year-old second baseman, 10 RBIs since May 22nd. He's doing plenty of damage. He's batting at the top of the Blue Jays batting order. He actually got elevated to bat leadoff on May 18th, and he's had at least 1 hit in 8 of the 11 games he's been batting leadoff. He went 4 for 8 with a home run, 2 runs, and 5 RBIs in 2 games versus the White Sox. His contact rate is very bad, 62.9% contact rate. I don't expect him to continue exactly what he's doing, but I will say that he qualifies at second base and outfield, as he's played 19 games at second and 33 games in outfield so far this season. Ramon Urias is from Boston Paul, a suggestion from Boston Paul. Now, I will say this, he doesn't play every day. He does have a great contact rate, but he doesn't, and he never has hit a bunch of home runs or stolen bases. He's okay for fantasy if you need a guy that plays multiple position. But one thing is that he doesn't play every day and he's not a flashy guy. In 3 of the 5 categories in fantasy, he is not helpful. However, his 83.8% contact rate is good, and he's getting pretty unlucky so far on the base paths with a .236 batting average on balls in play. Tyler Freeman, Cleveland Indians, 25-year-old third baseman. He's batting in front of Jose Ramirez the past 15 games, and Cleveland has won 13 of them. Who knows if that has anything to do with Tyler Freeman or the fact that the Guardians are just a good team this year. Now, during a 13-game stretch from May 13th to May 27th, he hit .333 with an .889 OPS. He scored 13 runs, drove in 8, and stole 3 bases. So he is contributing across the board. He doesn't hit lefties well. He never has. He's batting .192 against lefties and .236 against righties. But he does have a great contact rate, 82.9% contact rate. And last year, he played enough games to qualify at second base, third base, and shortstop. And so far this season, he's played 49 games in the outfield. So this guy could be, depending on your league settings, qualifying as second, third, shortstop, outfield, or a combination of those 4 positions. Matt Vierling, he's probably not available in a lot of leagues. He went 4 for 8 with 2 home runs, 3 runs scored, and 5 RBIs across 2 games on Wednesday. This is a fluke. I do not recommend going out and spending a ton of money on this guy. He plays multiple positions, including outfield and second base. Outfield and third base. And so far this season, he's played 25 games at third, 27 games in the outfield. Another one recommendation from Boston Paul. I really like this kid. If he's available, you should hop on him. Jose Miranda, 25-year-old third baseman for the Minnesota Twins, .274 batting average, 5 home runs, and a stolen base. He's been hitting a lot, and he's going to have to continue to hit really good if he wants to stay in the lineup because Royce Lewis is coming back in the next week or 2. This guy's pretty much owned in all my leagues by me in several of them, but if this guy's available, you should check him out. Josh Smith is still hitting well. He's a Texas Rangers shortstop, but he qualifies at third base, shortstop, and outfield, and this season he's played 45 games at third and 15 games in shortstop. He's batting .279 on the season with 3 home runs and 3 stolen bases. Another recommendation from Boston Paul is Brett Wisely, Wisely, 25-year-old second baseman from the San Francisco Giants, batting .357, only 1 home run and 1 stolen base on the season. He also bats left, and he does sit on the bench against lefties. He has claimed the strong side of a platoon at shortstop with Marco Luciano, but Wisely does not play against lefties. He started in 5 of the previous 6 games, going 9 for 17 with a home run, a stolen base, 5 RBIs, and 3 runs scored. This guy also plays second base, shortstop, and outfield. What, Lenny? Lenny wants me to stop the show. Does anybody want me to stop the show? I have a few more FAAB targets to go through. Jake Myers, Houston Astros, 27-year-old outfielder. .289 on the season, 6 home runs and 3 stolen bases. From May 16th to May 27th, Jake Myers hit .410 with a .489 on base percentage. It's a 1.181 OPS. 3 home runs, 8 runs scored, and 9 RBIs in that time. He's now started in center field the last 12 games for the Astros. Another guy on the list that's probably owned by now, but could not be, Adam Duvall. Of course, a lot of people have been wanting to know what to do with Ronald Acuna Jr. out for the season. Well, Adam Duvall, as long as he continues to hit, he will continue to be rolled out there into the outfield, making up for the loss of Acuna's absence. Now, Duvall and Kalenic are the two that will inherit the most playing time because of this injury. And last year, I will say, Adam Duvall is 35, but last year he did hit 21 home runs in 92 games. I got to hang up to everybody because Leonard is sick and I have to help him out. But I hope you guys have a good Saturday, and we'll see you tomorrow.